We'd like to begin by inviting Melissa Townsend, spouse of the Commanding General Stephen Townsend, to the front of the room to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Melissa. You're welcome. And I'd now like to invite Senator Ritchie to make a few opening remarks.
Welcome. Thank you for joining me here today for the ceremony honoring the nominees of the State Senate Veterans Hall of Fame. It's a privilege for me to be able to recognize all of you who are truly our nation's heroes. Your sacrifice and your service have truly made our country a better place. From the beaches of France to the jungles of the South Pacific and Vietnam, from the frigid winters of Korea to the hot sands of the Middle East, to defending the homeland during the Cold War, yours are the stories of dedication and commitment, service and sacrifice that continue to inspire us each and every day. But you didn't stop there. Even after serving, you have made contributions to your communities right here in Central and Northern New York. Whether it's continuing to help those who serve, teaching our future leaders, or helping our region to develop and prosper, your dedication and love for our country, our region, has truly made a great difference. As citizens of this great nation, we will forever be indebted to you for the sacrifices that you have made. Today's ceremony is just a small expression of gratitude for your years of service and commitment, for your lifetime spent on behalf of your community and for your country. It is indeed an honor to read and learn your stories and be able to recognize you for all you have done and all you continue to do. So again, let me congratulate you, each and every one of you, for what you have earned through this recognition. And I'm so proud to be able to stand here today to celebrate with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Now to recognize our honorees. Please stand at your seat when your name is called, and once your bio is read, please walk to the front of the room to accept your award. First, we have Donald Jake Corbine. Donald Jake Corbine entered the United States Army in 1948 and was discharged as a Master Sergeant in 1953. Mr. Corbine was a POW in Korea from December of 1950 to September of 1953. For his service, he was awarded numerous medals and awards, including the Purple Heart and POW Medal. Mr. Corbine is a life member of the Canton VFW Post 1231, where he served as commander for 2 years and was founding member of the Post Honor Guard and Firing Squad. Mr. Corbine has been married to his wife, Elvine, for 47 years. Raymond Cutway is a disabled Marine Corps veteran who served from 1979 until being medically discharged in 1983. Mr. Cutway is extremely active in his community and is the founder of the Toys for Tots program in St. Lawrence County. As a member of the Free and Accepted Masons, he volunteers with the Child ID program and is also on their Charities Committee, which helps to raise money for local families and agencies in need. Mr. Cutway is also a father and grandfather.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Larry Dietz. Larry Dietz served in the United States Army from 1971 to 1991. During his service, Mr. Dietz spent time in Germany, worked for the Department of the Army in Virginia, and also for DISCOM headquarters at Fort Drum. Following his retirement from the military, Mr. Dietz has been extremely active in his community, serving on the Richville Village Board, working to build a new playground in the village, and being a member of the Richville Fire Department for 13 years. Jon Flanagan. Jon Flanagan entered the U.S. Air Force in 1950, serving until 1954 when he retired at the rank of Staff Sergeant. Mr. Flanagan served as a military police during his time of service, met his wife, Frances Shine, who was also in the U.S. Air Force. He has remained extremely active in his community, serving on the Minetto Volunteer Fire Department for 35 years. Mr. Flanagan is married with 3 children. Robert Giordano Jr. On any given day, you'll find Robert Giordano Jr., better known as Air Force Bob, volunteering his time doing something that will benefit someone else. Entering in the Air Force in 1982, Mr. Giordano completed his service in 2008. Today, Mr. Giordano is an active member of his community. He is the founder of the Wounded Warrior Outdoor Adventures Incorporated, an organization providing free outdoor experiences for wounded warriors, battle buddies, veterans, and their families. He also serves as a board member for FishCap and the New York Fish Advisory Board. Charles Otis Griswold. Charles Otis Griswold served in the U.S. Army from 1943 to 1946. During his time in the Army, he served in the Battle of the Bulge and participated in the Rhine crossing in Germany. Mr. Griswold was actively involved in his community following his service in the military. He was married to Vivian Reedy Griswold, and the couple had 5 children. Mr. Griswold passed away in 1988. Accepting on his behalf is Kurt Griswold and Luella LeClaire. John Hasto. John Hasto is a U.S. Army veteran who served his country from March of 1943 to November of 1945. During his service, he was a member of the 3rd Cavalry Group, which was assigned to General Patton's 3rd Army. The 3rd Cavalry was often referred to as Patton's Ghost Troops, a nickname that was the result of the Germans not knowing how big the unit was, where they were, or who they were. The 3rd Cavalry was so successful, it was decided to make the group a regiment. Today, Mr. Hasto has been a dedicated member of the Central Square Lions Club for more than 53 years. Kenneth Lehman. Kenneth Lehman is a United States Air Force veteran who served his country from 1952 to 1956. A resident of Central Square, Mr. Lehman has dedicated much of his life to serving his church. He has been a licensed minister since 1965, is pastor emeritus at Antwerp Congregational Church, as well as transitional pastor at Central Square Community Church. He has been married to his wife Nancy for 54 years and has 2 daughters as well as 3 granddaughters. Wayne Long. A resident of West Monroe, Wayne Long began his service with the United States Navy in February of 1945. After being discharged in 1946, he was recalled to duty in 1952. Mr. Long was then sent up and down the east and west coasts of Korea, firing the Big 16 guns. In addition to his military service, Mr. Long has been a Boy Scout leader for 47 years. He is known to many in his community as Mr. Scouting.
Congratulations, Mr. Scouting.
Trevor Loomis. A native of Palermo, Staff Sergeant Trevor Loomis has served our country in both Iraq and Afghanistan on 3 tours. On his last tour as a Cav Scout leading his patrol in pursuit of a wanted target, Staff Sergeant Loomis was injured in an IED attack. Staff Sergeant Loomis sustained more than 200 shrapnel wounds and has spent a vast amount of time in Texas at the Brooke Army Medical Center. He now resides in an apartment close to the hospital with his wife and son. Staff Sergeant Loomis has regained much of his eyesight and is now attending college to obtain his medical degree. Accepting on behalf of Trevor is his father, Roger Loomis.
Really appreciate him for everything that's Please extend to us our congratulations, Sid.
Paul Mitras. Paul Gibby Mitras served his country with the U.S. Army from 1953 to 1955. As Waddington's postmaster and the owner of a small downtown restaurant, Mr. Mitras has devoted his life to his family, his community, and his fellow veterans. Mr. Mitras is a member of the American Legion, where he rose through the ranks of Post 420 in Waddington before becoming actively involved in leadership of the 4th District, which encompasses most of northern New York. In 2001, he was chosen as the New York State Department Commander, where he served as the top American Legion official in New York State. Stephen Ms Gala. Stephen Ms Gala joined the U.S. Army in 1950. After completing boot camp, he was sent to Korea during the Korean War. After returning to the United States, Mr. Ms Gala served in the 3rd Infantry Regiment of the Honor Guard at Fort Myer, Washington, D.C. He later earned a degree in education at SUNY Oswego and went on to teach industrial arts and social studies in Germany for more than 10 years. Mr. Ms Gala and his wife Florence currently live in Mexico. They volunteer at the Military Courtesy Room at Hancock Airport in Syracuse and are also active members of the Korean Veterans Organization. Herbert Pelton. A resident of Central Square, Herbert Pelton enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 1942 during World War II. He was discharged in September of 1948. Mr. Pelton not only served his country during his enlistment, but continued to support our troops as a member of the American Legion for more than 65 years. He has served as in the organization as commander and has held additional officer positions at various local American Legion posts. Mr. Pelton and his wife have 12 children, 5 who also have served their country, including one daughter who is currently serving in the Air Force. Patrick Roark. Patrick Roark served for 24 years in the U.S. Air Force, retiring at the highest enlisted rank, Chief Master Sergeant. After serving in the Air Force, Mr. Roark continued his commitment to serve through his position as Director of the St. Lawrence County Veterans Service Department. During his retirement, he has continued to serve his community through a number of organizations, including the American Legion, SUNY Canton's Military Advisory Board, the St. Lawrence County VFW, the Boy Scouts of America, and many more. Mr. Roark and his wife, Patricia, have 2 children and 4 grandchildren. Staff Sergeant Hillard Seeker. Staff Sergeant Hillard Seeker served in the United States Air Force from 1942 to 1945. After training in Washington State, he was sent overseas to England, serving in the European theater at the 8th Force 1st Air Division, 1st Air Wing with the 398th Bomb Group, 601st Bomb Squadron. While there, he was assigned Squadron Commander. Those in this position were the first to the planes when they returned from bombing runs in Europe. Arnold Shaw. Serving in World War II from 1944 to 1946 as a member of the U.S. Army's 178th Lightning Division, Arnold Shaw's European conflicts include the Battle of the Bulge, Hertingen Forest, and Normandy. After being discharged, Mr. Shaw returned home to West Monroe, where he and his wife Liz raised their family. He continues to serve his community as a member of the Constantius Scriba Lodge 414 F&AM. In addition, Mr. Shaw is co-founder of the West Monroe Boy Scout Troop 735 and is a charter member of the West Monroe Volunteer Fire Department. One of Mr. Shaw's proudest contributions is compiling from memory all North Shore residents who served in World War I and World War II for record at the West Monroe Historical Society. William Shippey. William Shippey joined the United States Navy in 1986. He proudly served our country for 8 years aboard the USS America and then the USS Lawrence. His service included time overseas during the Persian Gulf War. In 1999, he married his wife Nicole, a United States Navy veteran who is currently in the reserves. The couple had 2 children and 1 grandchild. In March of last year, Mr. Shippey passed away at the age of 46. Accepting on behalf of Bill is John Shippey. Charles Soler. Charles Soler joined the U.S. Army's 825th Engineer Aviation Battalion in 1942. He was honorably discharged on December 31st, 1945 at the rank of corporal. Mr. Soler joined the Clayton Volunteer Fire Department in 1941 and is still an active member, serving in the roles of president and chief throughout the years. Mr. Soler retired from the Village of Clayton DPW in 1984 after 19 years as superintendent. He was the recipient of the first ever Citizen of the Year award in Clayton. Mr. Soler has been married to his wife for 65 years, has 2 sons, 7 grandchildren, and 9 great-grandchildren. Accepting on his behalf is Cruchard Soler. Leonard Yablonski. A 1964 graduate of Mexico Academy and Central School, Lenny Yablonski joined the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. He received an honorable discharge on December 26, 1971, with the rank and file of Specialist 4 while in the Infantry Division of the U.S. Army. Mr. Yablonski is a former member of the storied Old Guard at Arlington Memorial Cemetery and currently volunteers at Arise in St. Stephen's Church. And lastly, to introduce our 2013 inductee into the New York State Senate Veterans Hall of Fame, Terry Roach. He unfortunately could not be with us today, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. Colonel Terence Roach is a 26-year military veteran who commanded at every level from platoon to garrison at posts from Buffalo to Paris and Korea with wartime service in Vietnam. As garrison commander, when the announcement was made in 1984 that Fort Drum would be home to the 10th Mountain Division, Roach was instrumental in the planning and initial execution of the $1.2 billion construction project and the rapid expansion of the installation. Today, Colonel Roach continues to make significant contributions to the success of Fort Drum through the Fort Drum Regional Liaison Organization, which he helped create, as well as a number of other organizations, civic groups, and other efforts. And now I'd like to turn it back over to Senator Ritchie to make some closing remarks.
I would just like to say it's really humbling to be here in the presence of so many veterans who have given so much for their country. It's really wonderful to have you all here today. Thank you all for giving us the opportunity to recognize you. I would like to thank several others who were instrumental in making today's ceremony happen. Major General Townsend, for allowing us to hold this here, his gracious wife, Melissa, who is our host today, Colonel Gary Rosenberg, Garrison Commander, for representing Fort Drum, Karen Clark of the Fort Drum USO for leading us this afternoon and making sure this happened here at the facility, as well as Mary Perry, a longtime USO volunteer. And I heard from somebody today how many years she was here. How many years?
70, over 70.
Over
72.
Over 72 years. Could you stand up for us, Mary, so we could recognize you? I'd also like to recognize Carl McLaughlin of the Fort Drum Regional Liaison Organization, who works hard to build stronger ties between the military and the community here in Jefferson County. And Kent Bolt of the 10th Mountain Division and Fort Drum Museum for welcoming us here. And if anybody has a free moment after and you have the opportunity to see the museum, that would be wonderful to take a look at that on the way out. Once again, thank you all for joining us. We have some refreshments. Want you to enjoy the rest of the afternoon. And for me, once again, personally, this was a very humbling opportunity to get to meet and hear the stories of so many veterans. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you so much for your service to our country.